There is a thin divide between what is perceived as spiritual and paranormal, for they are forever entwined throughout time. Traveling within the history of the world, we can find examples of spirituality that involves everything from magic, spirits, gods and goddesses, and seers, or people said to be able to talk to the dead. We all have our belief systems and we all have our own truths. So come sit with Holly Jenkins and myself as we talk about all that and more. Welcome to Spiritually Paranormal. I actually have to go in and change the banner. And this is Squirt. She's saying hello. She's
Hey,
out in
Squirt.
and apparently she really likes it when I'm sitting in here. She won't come to me. I can't touch her, but she can touch me all she wants,
Right.
which is good. I've got the big guy locked up. Phoenix is locked, and she just likes to play. So she's here saying hi to everybody. And
Hey, ho.
and hi everybody coming in. I see y'all coming in right now, and hope you're all well. Before we get started with anything, I do want to request, I need prayers for the wolf and my grandson. He is in the hospital. He is very, very ill. He has RSV and he also has coronavirus. So I'm asking everybody to please think of him and put some prayer up today. He's only a year old, so it's a lot, and I'm actually 4 hours away from where they're at right now at the hospital that they're in, and not really excited about it. He was born on my birthday, so he's a special grandson, and I'm not happy he's this sick. And RSV, I don't know about your state, but RSV and coronavirus is going around the United States like insanely right now.
Yeah.
And for the babies to get it, not good. It's bad enough when the adults get it, but when the babies get it, yeah. So, and as everybody can see, I have a partner on my shoulder today, and that doesn't happen really often, but she's the only lovebird I have left, and Squirt just loves being up front when she can. I can't touch her. I got her last year, and her partner passed. He actually came. He was sick when I got them. So and I lost my other one. So this is the only lovebird I have, and she's a lot some days, but she's a really good girl. So for whatever reason, I think maybe because you're here, Holly, she wants to come in and say hi to you.
She wants a chit chat with her fellow bird.
Yeah. So with all that going on with me, what's going on with you?
Not much, just working on my songs for, I've got that. I just released a single, the Ravens Call, and I've got an album that will release on April 11th.
Okay.
Full album, and I'm working on trying to get enough songs for a second album. Right now, I've got like 8 that are done, but I want a few more than that for a whole album.
Oh, that's
I
good.
want to keep it around 12.
That's cool. That's really good. Is it a spiritual album?
Yeah, they're more spiritual, the kind of stuff we do.
Okay.
That what getting in touch. Well, the first album is actually more for really women, and it's an empowerment album.
Okay.
Breaking the chains and letting go, and
Yeah, the good stuff.
Standing in your own power, that kind of thing.
Well, I there's so many different things that you do, so many different things that I do, and people need to realize, and kind of right now, especially here in the U.S., and I'm not sure quite what's going on everywhere else. Yeah, the bird flu is going around. Absolutely, Natalie. I absolutely agree with that. Actually, my daughter and her other half, they're both really, really ill right now at home. And Corona's going around. And I don't know if they have Corona, and they won't like say, oh, but, it's very possible. Um, so a lot of people are really sick right now. I just look at the planet and it's so freaking negative everywhere, right? Physically, emotionally. And people say to me, oh,
Now,
what can I do? What can I do? And I say,
now,
no, you have to
now,
put yourself in that bubble and push all that crap away from you. And
it's not. The thing is, though, it's not negative right now. It is in the transformation stage.
okay,
It's in the phase of changing, which people that don't like change are going to hate any kind of change whatsoever. Doesn't matter what kind it is, they're going to hate it. And it's whatever you look for is what you're going to find.
right.
If you're looking for the evil, if you're looking for the bad, if you're looking for something to complain about or bitch about or whatever, that's exactly what you're going to find, because that's what you have it in your mind to look for. But
Yep.
there's so many positive things. The things that I see in my feed on my different channels, that's why years ago, if you want to start bitching and just dogging people out or whatever, picking sides on anything, then you got to go. You're not in my timeline. You're not in my news feed. I'm not going to see it. I don't want to see it. You go be negative wherever you want to be and live in your dark hole that you have created yourself. I'm living in the light, and there's only going to be people of light in my channels. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no,
You
I
have
get
to take
that.
you have to take control of the content that's in front of you every day.
Well, you and I live very differently than a lot of normal people, a lot of other people, not even normal people, just other people in general. Like when my daughter calls me, she gets really, like unnerved and upset with me. And she's like, why are you talking about that? Oh, well, because I talk about my kittens. My kittens are outside, right? They're wild. They were born at the end of October, so they're like 4 months now. They're going into 5 months. They're absolute little shits right now because I haven't taken that step to touch them and what have you. I go out and they talk with me and they're in my shed and they're fed every day and they're watered every day. But now that they're getting bigger, they're going out on their own, right? But
Yeah.
that's my world. My world is my critters outside and
Right.
in. I live
Right.
on a lake, and I do this and I do readings and what have you. And but my artwork, because of what happened to me last July, I have not really been able to sit and do much of it. I'm just starting to get back into it right now because I haven't been physically well. And that's why we're getting back into this show, and I'm getting back into other stuff again because I'm beginning to feel better. But you have to kind of take yourself, like you said, out of that other crunch of crap that's going on in the world and just stay in that positive energy that you
It's time to do some spring cleaning right here, right now, in this moment. If you're seeing all this negative bullshit in your feeds, then you're the one who has to clean it up.
yeah.
If you got searching for some shit to complain about or be down in the dumps about, then that's all on you. You've got to be filling your life with positivity and light. Period. End of story. We each have to own what we're doing with our time and our energy every day.
And that's just it. We need to own it, and we need to take, and that's why, like, sometimes the stuff that's thrown at me or thrown into my like consciousness, it's like, oh, I really didn't know
Scroll,
that. And they're like,
scroll,
yeah,
swipe the other way.
and they're like, why don't you know this? And my daughter, which I'm quite impressed with it actually, if I really look at it. She won't talk about anything political, anything that's in the
Well, that
news.
doesn't do anybody any good. You don't need to talk about political stuff. I mean,
And
you're going to have enemies either side you talk about. So just why do that? Why bring that into your life?
right, and she's like keeps it all out, other than work, because she's got work. and it's intense, and so is Dave's work. But it's like they kind of keep that where it belongs, and they don't do the other stuff, and that really gives them a place of safety, right?
Yeah.
Here, let's see, Crystal. What does Crystal have to say here? I start each day thinking of good things, and even if things go a wee bit crazy, I have my artwork and listening to cool people. Well, okay, like you and Holly help me lots. And it's where we put our direction, where you're absolutely 100% right.
What are you focusing on every single day? Focus on your own life, your own world, your own business, and keep it light and positive. And, instead of looking for problems, you got to search for solutions and don't become part of the problem.
I'm old, and that's why, like, I always laugh at my kids, and the Wolf's kids are my kids as well, the girls. And I just kind of laugh, and they're like, well, what are you doing? And I'm like, well, I don't work because I can't work physically outside of the house. We just had 5.5 feet of snow, which is finally starting to melt, which is good.
We had a few inches the last week.
Okay. I mean, we had 5.5 feet. I finally got the drive completely done after a week and a half because obviously I can't shovel. I go out and do maybe 5 feet or 4 feet, of a section. It's finally to the road, and it's finally as wide as my driveway, and I'm very excited about that. But that's like my day.
Let me see if I can turn my camera around so you can see what the temperature is right now. Let's see. Oh, no, not that way. That's the wrong way. Hold on, everybody. How do I do this? Camera.
I'm at 48. I'm at 48 right now. So.
Can you see that? 89 degrees. 89. Yes.
No, I could show you outside, but it's a lot of snow yet. We have a lot of snow. It's gone down. Oh, we lost Holly. Our snow has gone completely down, where it's about half of it now. Yeah, we have about half of the snow now. There's probably, I'd say, 2.5 to 3 feet, but streets and everything are clear. So I'm really excited about that. But, it's interesting, and I don't know if you've noticed it, but the energy that's outside is even in nature, and I'm not talking politically, I'm not talking about people, I'm talking about in nature, is really unique right now. I don't know if you've noticed it, but it's like there's going to be this big, I feel like a big change in how we perceive weather in different areas.
Well, the poles, they have confirmed that the poles are shifting.
Oh, okay. But
and
even in the UK, I feel the same thing, and it's really stressing some people out. And I'm like, okay, well, all right,
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's part of the Earth's process, and this has happened. Nobody knows how many times the poles have shifted over time, but they are shifting, and the plates are moving, and they're going to continue to move because this is what the Earth does.
Okay, so I have a question for you. So when this, and I want your opinion on it. So when this happens and stuff shifts, okay, like the outside, okay, the environment or the weather or whatever.
The Earth itself, yeah.
Yeah. What? Okay, because I'm finding there's a difference, and I'm not going to say what that is right now, but I feel like there's a spiritual difference. And by this, I mean paranormally, like spirit people that have passed, just the energy and everything else. How are you?
I don't necessarily think that the Earth itself, the spirit of the Earth is changing, or the spirits on the Earth are changing as much as everyone is in transition, because it's like me being in the South, moving to the North, moving to Michigan. It's going to take me a while to acclimate to the weather. And same thing for you. You would be down here and you'd be roasting right now. You'd be like, I can't breathe. It's so hot. Help. So all the animals that are in their territories, in their regions, are all going to have to either shift or acclimate to the changes. And so I think spiritually, because we are all connected in that big old web of life, that we are all acclimating to the different changes. And so it heightens our awareness and heightens our sensitivity.
Does it heighten the paranormal, the spirits on the other side? Does it heighten their interaction with us?
Why are you making they are not different than us?
Okay.
We are those same entities. Right
Okay.
now we are in the big old meat suit, right?
Right.
But we are those spirits. And so at some point we'll be out of this particular meat suit and out there wandering with them, and then as eventually probably right back in another meat suit that looks different next time I want a better body though. Give me one of those that has a high metabolism and I can eat anything I want. Give me one of those bodies. I don't want one of these again. I don't like it. It itself is like going through I'm going through the change, but my whole life I've felt like my body has been going through the change. But you know what I mean? We're not separate from the spiritual world. We are the spiritual world.
No, I get what you're saying. It's just like a lot of other people are trying to rationalize. And what I've also found is, and not necessarily, I would say older we get, the more we understand, which is true.
But it comes with age, though. Understanding comes with age, doesn't it?
Well, it does. And it's almost like we accept it more, or we're open to more than when we were younger. Because I actually sat a couple weeks ago, I sat for a couple days, and I was thinking about my life from an early age into where I am now, like emotionally, how I think. And I do realize that a lot of it is because we have different experiences as we move forward. But then there's some of it that I don't know. I just kind of like think of I've been here before and I've done this before. So why was I struggling at this time? You know what I mean? So if I look at myself, say, even in my late teens to where I am now, I can see the difference each season, like the 20s, the 30s, the 40s.
Well, even the just 50s, like,
which is shocking to me.
Everything comes in sevens. So your face changes every 7 years. And with that, your body also is changing every 7 years. I think even your taste buds change every 7 years. So something that you liked when you were younger, you might not like when you're older, or you hated when you were younger, you might start loving now. So those are the cycles of our bodies. Every 7 years it is completely changing. So with that comes a different spirituality, a different level of mindset, a different level of understanding, a different level of everything.
So what do you think about when we're young or when we're younger, how we perceive spirit? Why do some people like yourself can see it, I can see it, I can hear it, I can speak with spirit, and yet other people, even people our age that have come through life,
still don't. They don't.
Why?
Well, I explained this a long time ago to a friend of mine. I remember she was living in an apartment at the time. We were at her pool at the apartment, and she said, "Why is it you can see things that other people can't?" And I said, "Imagine your mind is just an endless hallway of doors. Some of those doors are open, some of those doors are closed, some of those doors you don't even realize exist. Some of those doors you have purposely or even unconsciously closed them, nailed them shut, or ignored those doors." I said, "All my doors are open," and they just always have been. I've never closed those doors. But different experiences in life will cause us to open and close doors at different times. Some people are just, I don't want to say they're born that way. I want to say they are conditioned to close them through their upbringing, most likely.
Well, if I think back, and if I honestly do this, with an honest look, I go back and I could see things when I was 6, 7, 8. Kind of started off. Then
Yeah.
I always saw stuff, but I didn't let it affect me as much. And then when I got into my teen years, it was like when I got in high school, it was like full blown open crazy. Like I had dead people around me, and I have to change that because I don't consider them dead. I had spirit around me, right?
Right.
And they were like connecting me with me so intensely that when I was a senior in high school, I finally said enough and I shut it off. Didn't turn it back on again until I was in my like around 23,
But it
24.
really wasn't like turning it off and on. It was more of an awareness of it.
I didn't want to pay attention to it. Scared the
Right, right,
crap out of me.
exactly. So
Yes.
you didn't focus on it and put energy into it. You put energy into other places of your life and other things of your life, whereas it was never really just turned off. And if you wanted at any point in your life to start focusing on it again, you could have easily done that.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
suppose that's true. I would suppose that's true. And then when I got to be about
I did the
24,
same thing as a teenager. I was like, I ain't having no part of that. I'm done. I'm over it because I've been able to see spirits since I can remember three,
yeah,
4 years old.
yeah, everything, animals to people I didn't know, people I did know. And what was really unique for me when I think back, and I don't know how you were with your mom and stuff, I look back and my mom and dad respected it and they knew it was real, if that makes sense. They
Yeah.
couldn't do it, but
Although our family has ghost stories and talked about, spirits and stuff like that, no one ever really put in, it was always told in stories like someone else saw a ghost, someone else had that experience. None of my closer relatives ever talked about they saw this and they saw that,
that's interesting.
other than my grandmother.
I think about, and nobody in well, I was adopted, so no one in my family until my
Right.
dad, about 3 months prior to my dad passing, and he'd seen stuff. He'd seen me with people, like with spirit, and so did my mom. And my niece was living with us because my sister had passed, right? So she was living with my mom and dad. I was in a different house at that time. And I remember coming to the house and my dad said, I have a question for you. And I said, okay. He said, can you explain this? And I said, explain what? He told me he saw 3 spirits in the house. There was a guy, there was a younger gal. She's in her like late 20s, early 30s. And then there was an older woman who was like 40s, 50s. I knew exactly who he was talking about because they had been in the house forever. I had seen them all the time. And they would always really show up when they wanted me to do something or there was like news coming in, like not good news coming in.
Right.
And my niece walked in and she was probably, I would say maybe early 20s at that time. And she came in and she said she saw them as well. And that
Right.
she had seen them also when my sister, her mom, my sister had passed. And we were all just kind of like looking at each, and I'll never ever forget it because it made me feel good that they asked, number one, because they asked me about it. So I knew like clearly that what I saw and was doing was accurate. But it was like, wow, okay, so other people can see too if they admit it, okay, because a lot of times they won't admit it. And then
Right.
I kind of went through my life that way and was looking at different things and aspects to the point where I got to, I want to say my late 40s, where I just said, I don't give a shit anymore. It's happening. I'm not going to fight it. It's there. It's dumb to fight it. And they're coming in to help me, to help other people, whatever. And I have and I don't know if this is true with you or not. This
I
is
think I was in my late 20s whenever I stopped fighting it and was like, yeah, I'll tell you, this is what I see. I
well,
don't care.
and here's my question for you too: is do you have like regular spirits, regular people that come in with you? Because like I have like a
Well, I
handful.
have the grandmothers, of course, the 3 grandmothers that always come to me. They always come with me with really deep emotional healing, things that, or when I'm about to receive a new gift, or I don't want to say receive a new gift. I feel like we're always born with all of our gifts, but when one of our gifts is about to be revealed to us or really start developing more.
Well, I can look at my daughter, and my daughter has the gift, but she doesn't want it. She doesn't want to deal with it. She puts it off every now and then, and it doesn't happen often, but every
It'll
now and
change
then,
as she gets older. It'll
yeah,
change.
but every now and then she'll come in and she'll say, I dreamt about her. I had so and so come in and talk to me, because it like hits her base so hard. And I just listen to her, and she says, well, what do you think? And I'll just like a little bit, but I'll ask her more questions. So the answers are actually coming from her. And
Right.
it's interesting to me because there's been people like that in my life, and still, like Christy Sargent, right? She's very connected. She won't admit it out loud because she doesn't like to admit it out loud, but she's very connected, and I think sometimes I don't think people want other people to know, and then sometimes I just think it's like it
A
is
lot of
what it
people
is.
fear being judged and looked at funny, and I've never, since I was a little kid, never give one crap about how somebody looks at me or what they think of me. Everybody's going to make up their mind regardless of how good or amazing you are, how nice you are, what you do for them. They're going to believe whatever they want to believe anyway. So who cares? Opinions are
Well,
like acids. We all got one.
yeah, and I just kind of look at people differently, and I encourage people like that come to us, and I know you've had people that the same thing, where they have these things that happen with them, right? Or they kind of know things, and it's like, explore it. Well, what do you mean
Yeah.
explore it? I don't want them I don't want that around me. Why? It's your
Talk to
family
them.
member.
Ask them what do they want? Why are they there? What do they need you to know? Because they're there because they want you to know something.
And if it's family members that have passed, this is, I'm going to bring this up because this was happened this last week. I got a call, or I got a message actually, and my grandson is right now currently in the hospital, but she had sent me a video, because she has those video cams in when the kids sleep, where they can watch them and make sure they're okay and what have you. And he was sleeping, but he was talking. And when I saw it, I know exactly who it was. It was the wolf and her father. And she was like, oh my God. I go, no, it was the first time. And it was really interesting to watch the clip that I was sent, because he's only a year, but he was so conversing with them, even though we didn't understand what he was saying. He was so
Right.
conversing with them, and a little bit of giggling, but then serious talk. And I saw the wolf's dad. And she asked me, she said, but he's been gone now for about 2.5 years. I go, oh yeah, he just wasn't ready to be able to come in to that point yet, because he had things that he had done happen to him, whatever, while he was a human and living, that he had to sort through before he was to where your mom is right now. And your mom brought him in because she was already there, and she's already been with him and wanted to share that with him, and he could at that point. And she's like, I never thought of that. I go, oh yeah, when we go, not everybody's in the same
Plus, so I had an aunt that she physically got so angry at me because I remember I was at her house and I was telling her a story about when her mom, my grandmother, came to visit me
Mhm.
and what my grandmother had said. She just was like, that's a lie. That's a lie. She didn't refuse to believe it, she said, because she told her mom before she died to come back and talk to her and give her a sign. And that because she's not had a sign, it's impossible for me to be able to see my grandmother or talk to my grandmother. She was so pissed off. But my aunt was trying to see my grandmother with physical eyes, with the physical body. You don't hear them, see them, or interact with them physically. It's all spiritually. Every bit of it. It's all energy.
But they come in differently. So sometimes you can see them, not like you and I, not as clear as that, but they come in as energy. Sometimes you hear them. That sometimes you have them in your mind and you can hear them talking. And I have conversations all the time, but I don't see them, but I know they're
Right.
there because like if I go into myself, I can hear them and I can see them. But
Right.
it's in here or
Right.
in here.
Right.
So it's different. Spirit, what is here? Crystal. Crystal, I see you. Hang on, I'm not here. Spirit people come to you when they need to impart healing or support. Yeah, that is true. They do. Sometimes they'll come in though just to mess, just to mess with you.
And the thing is, my grandmother could be sitting beside my aunt all day long, every single day. My aunt would never have any idea because she is not open in that way.
Yep.
She is not open and open to receiving those kind of messages in that way. So my aunt now has passed as well. So I hope when she passed away, I said to the heavens, I said, I told you. I told you so. Now you have to say I'm right. Because I knew. Because my aunt, I was like, I had a direct line to her. I'm like, I told you so. I told you. So,
It is, excuse me, it is funny when you think about that stuff because I've had people the same thing. They're like, oh, well, we don't see or we don't hear. And I'll see the person they're talking about right with them. Like I know
and they're like rolling their eyes like I talk to them every day, but they don't listen. They don't know how to listen.
Kids do though. Look at
kids do know how to listen. They do know how to see it and hear it,
and they can see them, which is really intriguing to me because we haven't, as adults, kind of push that on them that there's no such things as ghosts. There's no such.
I don't tell my grandkids that at all.
Well,
my grandkids
I don't either.
know.
But I don't have grandkids, but I don't tell people that either. But it's interesting to me when we see them. And we see the spirit coming in or we hear them coming in and it's to me it's just kind of hysterical because it's like why aren't you listening, like you're asking and they're there, they're kind of watching over, they're kind of keeping everything safe. Last July when I got really, really sick and it was 2.5 weeks, I went to 5 different ERs that they kept putting me in and they kept sending me home. And then when I went to the last one, I had the one I went before I went to the hospital that took the gallbladder out. I went in, I don't remember much of it, but my friend who's like my sister here, she took me in and she was actually talking to me about it the other day. I don't remember any of it that she was talking about, but she told me that I was talking to my dad. I was talking to the wolf. And I was talking to my mom, but more the wolf and my dad. And I remember them there. And they just kept talking to me and doing things with me. But I was in that in-between state. So I wasn't completely in my body, but I wasn't dead. I was kind of floating around. And I was there for 12 hours. So they kept me busy for 12 hours.
Right.
And I'm very grateful for that. And when I think back, my dad especially, the wolf was doing other things and saying other things, and we were just goofing around and talking about the kids and all that. But my dad was like, no, you need to be here. I'm here with you. Don't be afraid of it. We're going to pull you through this. It's just going to take a lot. And when I got to the final hospital that actually wound up doing the surgery the next day, I was 2 days I had left. They told me I was going septic, my entire system. I had 2 days. If I had not gotten there when I did, I would not be here now.
Yeah.
So, but if I hadn't had my dad and the wolf there, and then, like I said, my mom popped in, but it was more my dad and the wolf. If I hadn't had them, I probably wouldn't have been here.
Yeah.
So I sense things very differently now. And like I said, I'm just starting to come out of that. because it took such a toll on my body. They said it had been working up for
Well, if
quite a
you
while.
have sepsis, it can take years for your body to detox from the sepsis, to heal, because it affects all your internal organs, all of them, in so many different ways.
Head, your body, everything.
Everything.
And it's,
Because I had sepsis, when I was in the hospital, and sepsis, you're lucky to come out of it.
but we came out of it for reason. There was reason.
We got more shit to do.
Yeah, and that's what my dad told me, and that's what the wolf told me. She basically said, "You can't go right now.
It's not
your
time.
time."
Right.
And it's like, but you know what? I'm so over. And they're like, no, you just can't. There's so much more you need to do. So since last July, when I got home, it was such
I have to
a
answer this. I'll be right back.
it was such a difficult kind of pattern to kind of pull in and get used to, that yes, you're going to be here, yes, but it's the long haul kind of healing part that you have to do. And physically, I mean, I've lost half my hair. I have not, I mean, I'm better now with energy and stuff, and I don't know how you are, like, coming out. I don't know how your energy level is, but I felt like I was taken and just pounded on and beaten. And I remember this the other day, and I don't know why I remembered it. Maybe because I was pissed because I couldn't do what I usually was able to do. But I was shown when you came home, and the wolf's daughter came pick me up to bring me home, and she's my daughter too. And I was getting ready. They were letting me get into the car to go home, and I had been in the hospital for 5 days, right?
Yeah.
With the surgery, getting there the day before me. And they were like, okay, we're going to send you home. I could hardly walk, and I was shaking so bad. And she said to me, you shouldn't be leaving. I said, shut up and get in the driver's seat. And she said, what? I go, shut up and get in the driver's seat. They shut the door. We took off, and my whole body was just shaking. And I don't remember much. And I know she got me home, and she had gotten out of the car, and it was a Sunday. So she had to go to work Monday, right? And Taylor would have had to do the same thing. But she had told Taylor, I want to take Mom home. And I said, Taylor, it's fine. Don't worry about it. But she stayed till like 9:30 at night on Sunday. And she said, I don't want to leave. I go, you're fine. Just go. Because all I wanted to do was like lay on my bed.
Yeah.
Not worry about anything. I could get up to go to the bathroom if I had to. And that's all I did for like a week.
Well, I came home on oxygen still.
Yeah.
And so I couldn't hardly do anything. Just getting from one room to the next, pulling that oxygen around with me everywhere I went. And to have to be off of it just to have a shower, you felt so weak and had no energy. And it has taken, that was at the end of 21. And I'm just now starting to get my energy back and starting to heal from the sepsis, because I have been taking all these different supplements, doing all this different research, and it's been trial and error. I'm going to sneeze.
Oh, that's okay. Bless you. bless you, and bless you.
Thank you. Goodness.
Bless you.
I'm allergic.
That's a lot. I take everything a moment at a time, a day at a time now. I don't, and if I need to go to bed at 4:00 in the afternoon, I go to bed at 4:00 in the afternoon. I might wake up.
I wish I could.
Well, I wake up at 9 or 10, and then I'm up for a while. But I listen to what my body's telling me to do.
Yeah, that's important. That's something that has been real hard for me to start learning how to do, is to listen to my body and not overdo it because you know me, I'm like full speed ahead at everything that I want to do.
Babies, you've got all the babies, so it's like it's not just you and your husband anymore. It's you and the dog and the babies and your daughter, and
There's 6 of us plus the dog.
I don't have that. I have the kittens outside. I would like to get in the house, but they're not interested anymore. I did have a different cat that came, and I wasn't thinking because it was 6:30 in the morning, so my brain wasn't awake yet. Otherwise, I would have just let him in because he's about the same age as my other ones. He wanted in. I should have just let him in, but I wasn't thinking. He came back, but he's not been up by the door yet, and it's just about the simple things. You're still working. Yeah. I cannot work other than what I do with the readings or the shows or whatever, and my artwork. And I just started Monday to get back into that. And I'm finishing up some stuff now, and I'm starting on some new stuff. But it's like, we have to listen. And I know that Spirit has been in assisting, and I'm sure has been assisting with you as well. And they come in and they'll kind of school me sometimes, like, why aren't you doing this? Or why aren't you just sitting and doing what we're asking you to do? Why aren't you eating better? And it's like, well, I don't care. You need to eat better. And it's like, okay. So that started last month, where I'm eating better again. And it does make you feel better. So they come in, and that's what a lot of people don't understand is, even if you're not sure of who it is or that it's spirit, it is spirit. And they are coming in. And I know my mom's been here. I know my dad's been here. And I can feel them, and I know the wolf's been here. Okay, you need to eat. Let's do this. And I'm like, I really don't feel like fixing. And then next thing I know, it's like, you need to get your butt up and you need to fit. And I'm like, okay. So I'm eating better, but they're pushing it. And I know that sounds really, really strange, but that's where it's coming from. And I will admit it. And if I was here by myself and not paying attention to that, I wouldn't be eating. I wouldn't be eating.
Right.
And I'm eating 3 meals a day now, where I was eating maybe one.
It's important. You really have to, especially if you want your body to heal from the toll that sepsis takes on you, because people don't understand how much it just destroys your body.
Well, and you've got people around you, so they're depending on you, but also because you have people around you, there's other things that you're doing. And that's where I kind of had to get out of my head.
I take about 19 supplements a day.
Oh, no, I don't do that.
For all the different things. There's so many different things. And I've done a lot of research, and I've changed them over the years. I was taking 20-something a day. And, you try it, and you got to be consistent and try it for a good while, 3 months or longer, to see if it's going to work. And if it doesn't, then I change it up and do more research, and it's exhausting.
I'm off all my meds.
Yeah.
All of them.
The majority of my stuff is supplements.
And December, I had chosen 1 week. I'm like, I kept being hearing, so I was kind of taking them down and just not taking them anymore. And then I finally got screamed at about the last 3 drugs that I was on. And I'm like, okay. So I just cold turkeyed them, which probably wasn't the smartest. But my daughter called me a week later, and Tay says, oh my God, I just read blah, blah, blah. And it was about one of the meds I had been on.
Metformin?
I go, I'm not taking them anymore. She's like, what? And I said, I stopped last week. And she said, what? I said, yeah, I kept hearing I needed to be off of them, and I stopped. And she goes, oh my God.
The majority of prescription medicines, they're not healing us in any way. They keep us sick. They keep us dependent on the medication and keep us in a state of illness.
Yep.
That's how the government makes their money. That's how Big Pharma makes their money, keeping us sick. All the shit in our food, all of it.
Oh, yeah. Well, I take one, and it's a muscle relaxant, but it's not like a narcotic. It's a different kind.
Right.
And that's what I take, and I only take it at night. That's it. I don't take it during the day.
Right.
And the weather does play a lot to it, so I know what I should do, what I shouldn't do to get through the days. And
Yeah.
you have to really start paying attention, like everybody does, to those things that are causing issues. You have to pay more attention. I'm very grateful. I have a nurse practitioner who is my doc, and she's like in her mid 30s. I love her. She doesn't push any. She talks to you. She suggests. She's just an amazing, amazing nurse practitioner.
I have
And
the same. I don't go to a regular my doctor is a nurse practitioner. I go to her because same thing. She listens to you and then helps you make good decisions on what you want to do and
yeah,
how to
and
do.
what you want to do, not what she thinks you should do.
Or
That's
or what her bosses thinks she should have you doing.
yeah.
That's the thing. Because all these doctors, even though you think they're not the boss.
No,
They're not the
we are.
boss.
We are.
And their bosses want you to take all these drugs because they get kickbacks on all of these drugs. Trust me on that one. Do your
No,
research.
I
Look
get
it
it.
up.
100%. But I will tell you, and this has just been since this all happened in July. Not that I haven't been told things by spirit before, but they're so on point. Like if I don't pay attention, you need to do this, you need to pay attention, you need to wake up and see. And this is what's gone on since July. And that's why it took me all this time to kind of float back to where I need to be and where I feel good. So if I'm tired, I sleep. But see, I'm not working like you because I can't. I physically can't.
Right.
Although I could do things from home, but now I'm too old and they don't want to freaking hire me. Gotta love that, right? Like, what do you mean I'm too old? You know, it's like, no, you're too old. We don't want you. And it's like, yeah, what did she say? Yeah, Natalie, you're absolutely right. Big pharma. Yep, getting rich on. Well, and the thing is, some of big pharma, the stuff that the docs and stuff get, you don't need. There's other ways to address things.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I have not. I'll have to check them though, Natalie. I'll have to check on them. But I do have other really close friends, which, you ever think about that? When I was growing up, I had a bunch of friends, but like now I have like three that I really listen to and we communicate. That's it.
Yeah, that's
Everybody
it.
else is kind of just, they're around, not interacting with me the way I used to. And are you younger than you, Chloe? That's funny, and you're 22. I don't look at myself and think I'm 64 years old already. And I look and I'm like, I don't look 64. To me, I don't look 64. Right. I can tell you I felt like 164 last year.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding.
I was like done. And I'm sure that was the way you felt too, coming out of all that crap you came out of.
It's been a battle, nonstop battle ever since. I hate to cut this a few minutes short, but
that's okay. We're good.
I just watched my boss walk into the office, so I better get my butt back in there.
All right. Well, and everybody, I just want you all to know, thanks for coming in and seeing us, and we'll see you next Wednesday here on Spiritually Paranormal. God bless.
Have a great day, everyone.
Bye.